Feliz Dia de los Padres to all of the guys, gals, and non-binary pals out there in YouTube land. You know, it's been an exciting Sunday. I hope you showed your father some love and all the fathers in your life. But we're gonna get into a quick makeup look with this dupe for the Huda Beauty Dusk. Was it Desert Dusk palette? This is the Dusk Till Dawn palette. There are a few other dupes that are out there on the market, but this is very pretty. And again, I'm not trying to replace the good work that Huda Beauty has done on her palette. I'm just trying to kind of get a taste of what this color story or one that is similar to her palette looks like on my skin tone. I have gone in with some moisturizer, not really a primer, but I did try this Ioni, very inexpensive brand from the 99-cent store. I tried this the other day and it actually was surprisingly tacky and surprisingly good. I thought I might do this again, but I did lay down some of this Revlon Color Stay Skin Awaken 5-in-1 concealer. Now, I'm not sure what the 5 things are. Let's see. Caffeine and vitamin C, 24 hours. I don't know if we should be wearing our makeup 24 hours. Let's see. 5-in-1 concealer. Erase, perfect, brighten, hydrate, and refresh. Interesting. But it's quite a cool toned, pink toned concealer. I have another version of it in the lightest shade, which is, if this is 002 and it's universal brightener, then I have 003, which is cool ivory, right? And that begs the question of there must be a 001 somewhere out there in the world. But I was quite pleased to try this because, as we know, pink concealers and pink powders have been, you know, all the rage of late, and just out of the idea that it provides, you know, a trendy brightening, especially in the center of the face. As you can see, it is at war with the warmth of my skin tone, which is very yellow orange. But, you know, do we kind of yellower or more orange or tan colored people have to undercut our skin tone? You know, for a while, yellow powder was the rage, yellow concealer, yellow corrector. But, you know, what does pink deliver on our skin tone? That's a good question. So if we are concealed, then this is a perfect moment to lay down some lip gloss, right? I have this Malin and Getz vitamin B5 moisturizer on my face, and then I wanted to lay down this Elizabeth Arden Advanced Lip Fix Cream in preparation for our lippy to be our final step. You know, when you're in the desert, which Hollywood is the desert, you really can't go wrong by moisturizing the living heck out of your skin, lips, nails, hair, everything. You know, I question from an environmental standpoint whether people really need to dry their clothes, because honestly, anytime I do hand washing and hang it in the bathroom, it dries like that. Let's see. So if this is our concealer, right? Let's just take a moment to talk about a little tiny shop we did recently. We did, as I mentioned before, go to Daiso because in as much as I'm working on an Asian gangster series for a streaming service next week, I might also have to play something of a lawyer, maybe kind of CIA person. So that always means a suit, but that doesn't mean you can't be feminine, right? And if your hair's in a bun, what could be cuter than a couple of hair accessories that kind of get you that pearl navy conservatism, that pink restrained, you know, especially if you're going to play any kind of lower level person, an administrative person, then hair accessories might be appropriate. And these are so cute. You know, I always harken back to my had to be a 12 or 14 hour flight on Japan Airlines. To me, the greatest airplane experience I've ever had in my life. The food was amazing, and the cabin service people were so kind. And I always remember that they had their hair pulled back with a little hairnet over it, and then a little bow on top of the hairnet. And I thought, how thoughtful to have a neat, controlled hairdo that's also pretty. So whenever I go to the Japanese dollar store, I'm always intrigued by, this is a net chignon, thin net that has a little elastic in the back, so it goes over your cop bun or your FBI bun or whatever kind of bun. And you can reuse them especially if you wash them after you wear them, so that any oils don't destroy the elastic. The caption says in English and in Japanese, the net is thin and unnoticeable, which is what you want. You can recycle the hair nets that come over wigs in packages, but nothing lasts forever. And some shows don't require the net over your cop bun, but as I said, I saw some real cops on the street in Hollywood after some person suffering from substance abuse was tap dancing nude on top of a police cruiser, and it just seemed like the cops were kind of taking a moment to catch their breath, and they were, I'm very intrigued by female cops' hair. I'm always like, what you got going on there, sis? And it seemed like this particular woman, I think there was only one among them, had a, sort of messy bun. It looked like she quickly threw it up into a bun with like an elastic or something like that over it. Wasn't symmetrical, wasn't pinned, but it's good to see what things look like in the field, and her hair wasn't short either. So if those are my nets and hair accessories from Daiso, I also was able to get this adorable foldable brush. And not only is it foldable, but it's also scented, right? I did get one of these in blue as well. I don't know where it's gone, but you can fit this in your purse or your fanny pack and get your hair looking right. And then it has a subtle floral scent, which I think is thoughtful, right? Sometimes, especially if you work outside in downtown LA or in some areas of Hollywood, you can appreciate things that smell good. In any case, I also got these adorable La Vie Chez Je suis à vos coats. I don't know what that means. Comme la amants, les meilleurs amis, les frères, whatever that means in French. Twisted ear cuff. 2 pieces. One here and then one here, right? Without piercing your ear. I got a set in silver and a set in gold to see how that goes, right? I'm interested in people who have many, many holes in their ears, but I don't really want to get them. So the look without all the piercing, that's what I'm into. Let's see. And then I also got at Daiso this silicone kitchen brush, right? What's disturbing is that you can use it, rinse with water, and allow to dry. Do not bleach. So, excuse me. If you can't use bleach when you're washing your dishes, what are you really doing? I don't know. I'm surprised, but it seems to be shaped like a little hedgehog. Am I right that this is a hedgehog? Does it say? Yes, kitchen brush, silicone kitchen brush, hedgehog. I am really pleased at how well silicone does protect your hands from heat. I was really skeptical when I first saw those like pot holders, but I have a couple that are shaped like little pig faces and little pig snouts that I adore. They were only $1 from the dollar store. So we'll see how Mr. Hedgehog works out. And then when I was at Target, I got this tiny Versed Day Dissolve Cleansing Balm. When I was dog sitting recently, I forgot to bring just, a mild face cleanser. So I ended up using, I believe, soap, which I did not want to do, especially in the desert. You don't want to like make your skin super dry. What else did we get at Target? We did get this NYX Wonder Stick, dual-ended, light peach and baby pink. I got another color of this. And today we're going to try this one, right? I tried to set out a thoughtful array of products. So like reading a book, going from right to left with a variety of brushes, and then options for embellishing eyeshadow with some of this Doja Cat graphic liner, calligraphy eyeliner, right? White, green, black. Then there's also liquid eyeshadow, burnt orange, royal blue, deep purple. I keep saying I'm going to go there. I haven't gone there yet, but I want to, very much so. Also, at Marshall's, no, at Target, a different Target, I got this really cute brush from our friends at Conair, who you know are the manufacturers of my very favorite shower cap that actually fits far enough over my head to let my ears poke out and not get the front or back of my hair wet. So when I saw this, and it is apparently, it's the #1 hairbrush brand for everyday brushings of all hair lengths. Smooths, right? When you're doing law enforcement hair, you want it smooth. Boar bristles, right? Distribute the scalp's own oils to leave a healthy looking shine, right? Perfect finishing brush for textured hair. So the fact that this talks about textured hair and it's a boar bristle, but it's got this pretty kind of diamond shape to the, it's sort of faceted like a diamond. I thought that was adorable. If you know the Kristen S line of shampoos and hair accessories, I was intrigued by the brush and the comb that she had for her brand that were gold. It was a little gaudy, but the thing as a curly haired person that I couldn't rock with was the fact that the bristles of the brush had little knobs on the end. If you're trying to make curly hair look smooth and straight, wet it, apply product, and pull it down. But if you get something in it that's going to pull at it, it's going to mess up your whole thing. So this to me is a win, and I will definitely demonstrate what that's looking like when the moment comes. This week, I think I'm playing a college professor, and then I'm also on a long-running hospital show as a businesswoman. So that means I can probably wear my hair curlier, depending. But in any case, this is Good Chemistry's fragrance. You know, you don't have to spend $1 million to smell good. You can bathe with something like soap or body wash, right? Brush your teeth, wash your face, you know, either use deodorant or antiperspirant depending on whether you're going to work. You know my thoughts that antiperspirant will protect you from looking wet under the arms. I'll put it like that. But, you know, Good Chemistry, I guess, donated a good deal of their rollerball fragrances to Goodwill. So I was able to get a series of different scents at Goodwill. And Good Chemistry's Wild Child is mischievous and bright with looks to match. So that's the packaging. It's bergamot, coconut, and bamboo. Because it matters to us, this perfume is vegan and cruelty-free with essential oils. We're also really happy that it doesn't contain parabens or propylene glycol. So apply to pulse points, wrists, and neck to stimulate the senses. It has alcohol, denatured, fragrance, and water. So, you know, it says fragranced with essential oils of coriander, galbanum, and petitgrain. Okay, but in any case, we're just trying to have a moment. We're trying to have a self-care smell, even instead of smelling neutral, right? But to smell even better. And you just have to wait for that little ball to make a slight snap. And it smells great. If you know Earl Grey tea, bergamot is definitely that Earl Grey tea smell. If you don't want fragrance on your skin or the alcohol on your skin, if you're sensitive, you can put it on your clothes or in your hair. Just at the nape of your neck. And then the warmth of your skin inside of the elbow, that can work, so that once the alcohol evaporates, you will have a lovely scent that will envelop you and anyone that gets close to you. You don't want to wear so much that you smell like you're at a Jersey Shore nightclub, but you can definitely smell and fresh, right? Maybe you don't want to smell too feminine or too expression is, right? Expression different than gender identity? I think it is, but you know, sometimes you want to be spun up that day. I also got at Marshall's this Guerlain Paris or Guerlain Paris Midnight Secret. The fragrance, it turns out it's active ingredient signs of tiredness, so you wake up looking rested, with a revised complexion and smoother skin applied to the bedtime. I might need that. I've been, you know, tussling away at all my different social media. The other lift and snatch brown. I got another color. This is the ash brown, and then at Daiso, I got a series of, I got a few pairs of things, right? So, Browy Wowie from LA Colors, Tinted Brow Gel, and this is in the color Universal Taupe. And then I got a matching eyebrow pencil that is in the color Taupe, right? So this is Universal Taupe, this is Taupe. I don't know if there is a Universal Taupe eyebrow pencil, but this was all that's left, right? You gotta get what you can get your hands on. I got this Browy Wowie from LA Colors Tinted Brow Gel in soft brown, and then I got the matching eyebrow pencil that comes with a spoolie in soft brown. So I thought we might try the taupe today. You know, one issue is that I think that's the alcohol of hairspray. So, you know, I don't know if that's something that I should make happen uniformly along my hair. I don't know if I should cut it. I don't want to go crazy, but you know, I am conscious of the fact that my hair in the front looks lighter than my eyebrow color. So maybe I can cheat, not by bleaching my brows, but by lightening them by applying some brow products that don't make them super dark. I mean, I have to confess, like for a long time, the texture of your brow product, the color of your brow product, you know, it tells on you in bright light, whether that's fluorescent light in a store or bright light outside in the morning, right? You can just see that people have stenciled on this brow that doesn't look quite convincing. In any case, the other item that I was very fortunate to get at the 99-cent store, right? This Equate dual action power toothbrush, right? So cheap, right? If you know the Walmart, I believe it is strong for you. Just dilute a cap with water, so maybe a third of the antiseptic mouth rinse with 2/3 water. You might find it a little bit more palatable. You do want the reducing plaque and reduce irritated or unhappy, but this, so yes indeed, I did have to reconnect. I'm gonna, you know, as I adjust to this new setup and I'm using the back camera for a change, I want to be sure I'm like talking loud and staying in frame and not sitting on our little pillow brownie that assists us with our turd of the week selections. Turd of the week is, you know, Brownie's idea to kind of talk about some people who are in the news that are up to naughty stuff. This week we talked about Amber Heard and her photo op shopping for white linen pants in Bridgehampton, and whether that was a, you know, kind of a story produced moment, right? To seem downscale and working class, like the sort of person who can't pay the defamation settlement that was, you know, whatever the word is, you know, kind of decided against her in the court in Virginia. Just getting this into our dish. And, you know, we're going to use our little flexible silicone sponge. I wish I could remember who manufactured this so that I could get another one. It's so soft and squishy. I love it. It's like a finger, but without bones. Just tapping a bit of this across the eye. And I have been watching with interest how much eyeshadow primer people put on. I thought, oh, you need to kind of bounce it in and make it kind of look like the color of your skin, but that's not at all what people do. Like, even people who are not people of color are putting on enough of it that it's making their eyelids look white, which is it was very educational for me to watch that, because I was like, wow. So this eyelid primer has created a look of texture. I don't know if I'm comfortable going in with more of it, but you know, again, my thing is, like, I've collected these items. Let me go through and try to at least use them and figure out if they work for me. If they don't, you know, I have my friend Olga who is going to give me some lipsticks, so I have to try to, like, put aside the makeup that doesn't work for me and give that to her, right? Just to, sometimes you just want to be able to swatch something if you don't feel like it's safe enough hygienically to use it on your face. But just to kind of continue your education about makeup, because, you know, I marvel at the people who have professionally worked as, you know, makeup people, because they obviously have been educated and exposed to so much more makeup than me. But as I've explained, my job makes it necessary for me to know a lot more about makeup than I ever would have guessed I needed to. Medium shadow brush. It's so big, but maybe this is the right thing for getting a crease color across our eye. I hope you can see me. I wonder if I should zoom in a little bit more. Ooh, is that too much? Hold on. Let's get that angle corrected. So hopefully that's good. But bear with me, I'm working on my setup. But you know, I was really tired yesterday, but I was looking forward to this. This palette does come with its own brush. I wonder if I should use the brush, or has a little bit of a stray hair. Yank that bad boy out. So it has a pointier end and a broader end. Maybe I'll stick with the initial plan to use this little cat's paw medium shadow brush, right? It's such a big brush for a tiny lid, but you know, I've been pleased with W7. Perhaps we should use the palest shade, Wanderer, right? These shade names evoke the desert. Wanderer, Llama, Bearded Dragon, Oasis, Ayahuasca, which I think is a hallucinogen. Am I wrong? Please let me know in the comments. Wild, Gobi, Golden Sands, Gray Fox, Wilderness, Mirage, Mojave, Daybreak, and Dune Moon. Do we have any Dune fans in the house? I'm definitely a Dune fan. But I hope you can see me. I'm gonna get into this Wanderer shade, which is the very palest one. Twist our brush into it, tap it off, and then look into our mirror and tap that across the lid, setting our primer. I'm sorry I'm having to compete with the folks partying outside for Father's Day, but you know, as long as everyone's having a good time, it's fine, right? Setting all of that primer with this very pale color that kind of lifts upwards and much paler than our skin tone. Other side, checking to make sure our live is still alive. You know, I could make some other technological changes, but you know, I'm very much in that, like, I've had to spend quite a bit of time kind of working out what I want to do on my YouTube channel, what I have to say on my YouTube channel. And it's been a real treat, but it's also been nerve-wracking to not, you know, this is our slow time of our work year, but things are gearing back up. As much as you kind of start out thinking like, oh, I have so much time to do this and that and this and that and work on my channel and all of my social media, it just ends up being day after day of to-do list and, you know, all kinds of things that don't necessarily give you all the time and progress that you want. I'm sure you can relate. Is this too high up? Let's see. I hope you can see me. But in any case, that is our palest shade, Wanderer. I'm just gonna, I have like 3 lights on me and it's getting toasty in here. So from here, I did listen with interest. I saw a woman test out the new Anastasia of Beverly Hills palette, the one that's kind of green on the outside, the one that just dropped. And she was in a place of doing the outer 2/3 of her eye with a color and then building an outer third over it, right? So if this is our all the way across the lid shade, right, she chose a separate crease shade and then an outer 2/3 shade. It just let her use, like, it was a 5 color eye, which I thought was interesting. So maybe we should go in with the second palest shade, Bearded Dragon, same brush, get that on the tip of our cat's paw, tap it off, and then think about a lifted shape, and tap that across above our crease since we have hooded eyes. I've also been watching some tutorials that talk about Kylie Jenner and her hooded eye, halo eye, which I thought was a really, you know, exciting shape. I haven't really done a halo eye just because I really like a bright inner corner. And so if that's across our entire crease, right, extended out into the temple, let's keep it just there and then do the other side, right? And this is a very comfortable brush. It's big enough to give you a wash of color, and it's very soft. It's from our friends at Real Techniques. The only thing I couldn't find as I was moving over here into the new kind of studio setup is I couldn't find my Real Techniques spoolie that helps me do my brows, but I do have spoolies on some of those other brow products. So this is what it's looking like. We are getting a very subtle and pretty color payoff, right? But you definitely see it. There's a trend now of people doing monochromatic eyes. And I feel like if you just did this and then kind of kissed it back toward the lash line and maybe not even extending out so far, you would have a very pretty kind of professional color, right? I'm thinking about being a college professor this week and what kind of makeup that would let me get away with. I fear that it would have to be something, you know, professory and kind of, is the word boring? And I picked up this refillable palette. This is a brand that's sold at Whole Foods, which is kind of a organic grocery store that was bought by Amazon here in the States, but this is Coffee Break. It has some, you know, really kind of standard neutrals, and this might be more professory with some sort of jacket. My mirror keeps turning off, but I assure you it has fresh batteries. Nope, not to worry. Let me see if I can lower this just a tiny little bit so that you can see. Hopefully that's better. But yeah, I'm not mad at this. It's vibrant, it's pretty, and it gives good color payoff, right? So that you can like tap it in And again, this is 2 shades in, right? From here, this woman talked about building a wash of color across the outer 2/3 of the eye, right? Kind of leaving that Bearded Dragon shade untouched, but then creating a frame for that outer third, outer V of the eye. So if from Wanderer and Bearded Dragon we skip all the way to the end to Gobi and see what that's looking like, should we even use the same brush, or should we start using the brush that came with the palette? Let's hold on to the brush that came with the palette. No, let's use it. Let's use it to get Gobi kind of under this shade and kind of building a frame for our darkest outer third color. Does that make sense? I also was watching a creator, Nappy Headed Jojoba, discuss using a matte bronzer, right? So I pulled out this Essence matte bronzing palette that I got near UCLA. Matte bronzing, right? Using something like this to map out where your eyeshadow goes, right? I didn't happen to do that today. I'm not sure about using a brown, like even the palest shade underneath these shadows, because that feels like it would undercut having made our eyelid area pale with the eyeshadow primer and with the concealer before that, right? If you're going to add another layer of brown, that's going to, me, throw off the color payoff for your eyeshadow. You know, as someone who has, you know, fairly pigmented skin, it really can throw off the eyeshadow, like in a way that blues look green, you know, and other kind of like combinations of my skin tone plus eyeshadow. I'm uncomfortable drawing on a big white base, but you know, baby steps. I may get there. But from here, if Oasis might be our outer third, then maybe Wild, right? This palette is great because it seems to be half mattes and half shimmers. And that's the kind of proportion of matte to shimmers that I like, because it lets me do a lot of outer third, outer 2/3 work and save that special moment of inner corner shimmer, you know. So Wild, which is kind of a rust color. A lot of the, what is his name? Jason Wu. A lot of the Jason Wu cheek and lid and cheek colors are in that kind of like warm red orange, pink orange place that is great for people with my skin tone, you know, yellow based, etc. So we're trying to think about that outer 2/3, but not completely obliterating what we have done above this color, right? Lifted shape, extending out toward the tail end of the brow. Just wanting to use the very tip of the brush, but not trying to go too high, but trying to make sure this color is visible. Look at that. This is such a pretty palette. So cheap. I was wrong when I talked about having gotten 3 palettes for $20. Oh no, baby. It was $9.99. And, you know, again, just to see, like, I wasn't sure what I thought was purples were going to do on my skin tone. You know, was it going to look kind of dated and silly? But this is surprisingly sophisticated colors and color interplay. And if this is this good, could it be that the Huda would be even better? Because, you know, in this world of colors that aren't the same, or even just tones of the same, but they really do work to coordinate a color story that's interesting, right? I get nervous about color stories that are just about green or just about yellow. Like, who lives in that world? If you know, as an adult playing, you know, fairly serious roles, you can't necessarily, even as a playing a parent or something like that, you can't necessarily just looking in our mirror to make sure that that peach shade is living. We could have used a smaller brush, and that there's still room to do our outer corner and then room to do our inner corner shimmer. Sorry, I talk a lot. What did I want to say? But, you know, I can't be utterly kind of bananas and unsophisticated about the eyeshadow choices that I make because, you know, you don't want to get in trouble with the hair and makeup team. You don't want to have to put people in the position of, you know, still people come to set with like acrylic nails for 60s, 70s, and 80s period pieces. It's like, I get it that that cost you 30, 50, 80 bucks, $100, but it's inappropriate for what you're supposed to be. And, you know, even now, like I put some really pretty Marc Jacobs kind of a shell pink on my toes, and I wanted to put it on my hands, but I don't think a professor would have that. And I don't think a businesswoman in a hospital environment would have that either. I feel like I've gotten more color payoff on my right side than my left. So just wanting to intensify that. I'm watching with interest people who do all this like graphic liner, and they really do draw on a lot of different shapes and stuff, and I think the artistry is interesting, but I do think that sometimes it's a stage level of makeup. It doesn't look real. And I also watch, the Project Euphoria, that, there's a makeup line from the makeup artist now. And I wonder how realistic it is. People of all ages do some really sophisticated makeup now. There's so much more access to education about it. I'm not really sure that rhinestones and crop tops and so much fashion are realistic in high school. Let me know if you know. But it's not even from a dress code point of view, but realistically, unless you're in like fashion high school or something, right? If you're serious about your academic life, if you're serious about, your GPA, are you really going to be just so obsessed and spending so much time doing a lot of television level hair and makeup? I think it's great. I think it's interesting, but I don't know how realistic it is, especially while you're in school, because not everyone has that focus. Not everyone has that, kind of wanting their image to be so stylized, right? I think that, as an actor, there is so much room for us to take on different roles and be thoughtful about the intention for the role, the intention for the day. You're not going to want to shave your head or get, long purple acrylics because that doesn't give you the flexibility you need. Now, this is looking stone cold pretty, just as it is, right? We could do a blend on the end and kind of make this look so far more seamless, right? We see more of that peach in the inner corners. Maybe it's peeking above that red. I think it is, but it just, the blend is A1 spectacular. So if we take, I guess, the pointy end of this brush that came with the palette, and then think about, maybe we should take a smaller like pencil brush. I did clean all my brushes. I have them in recycled ice cream containers. This was for, if you know La Brea Bakery, Nancy Silverton now has a new business making premium ice cream. I was lucky to catch a sale at Whole Foods. So this was the chocolate fondant flavor, and then I also got the vanilla, bourbon vanilla bean. Excellent, by the way. But this is what I put my clean brushes in. So this is a pencil brush. This is from Morphe M321. We're trying to be real tight with how we do this outer V and not let the shadow wander everywhere and look muddy. So just dipping our brush into this palette, checking our frame to make sure that the live is still live, right? Outer V along the lash line, right? Holding off on doing our complexion product until after any fallout has fallen, right? This very lovely, rich chocolate brown. Outer third, just ending where the eyeball pupil begins. Looking into our mirror, closing our eye, getting that brown into the crease, right? So that when eye is open or closed, the brown will live. As a hooded eye person, we need to think about a lifted shape, but also think about that brown being visible above our crease when our eye is open. This color is called Oasis. And, you know, certainly being indoors on a Sunday doing our makeup feels like an oasis. For all the drama, if you've seen my shorts about what President Trump was fixing to do to old Mike Pence, I mean, it just, can it be true? It just, I mean, the record is there. It's in the tweets, it's in the footage, the timestamp, and all that stuff, and all the people, you know, kind of up in arms about having risked it all for someone who let them be on the record, let them be on text messages and emails trying to get pardons and do all this extra carrying on. And then, like Tony Soprano, Donald Trump seems to have, you know, like people who get RICO violations, right? They understand, as Michael Cohen says, like a coded way to let it be clear what they want without necessarily creating a paper trail, without necessarily letting themselves be as clear and obviously culpable as their lieutenants, right? So, you know, people who ask for pardons have been left out to dry. And, you know, I think, like in so many ways, Donald Trump is expecting to avoid consequences. But I think one very interesting thing that it's so shocking, I can't believe it's true, that is it Priti Patel, some sort of home secretary or someone like that in the UK, has actually approved the extradition of, get this, Julian Assange, right? Julian Assange, who was hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy for years. Julian Assange, who smuggled out his own man juice and, you know, conceived one or more children with, I guess, his now wife, right? Julian Assange, who somehow escaped culpability for removing the protection, shall we say, romantic encounter or set of encounters in, was it Switzerland? I can't remember. But look how pretty this is all together, right? The pale butter shade Wanderer, that adorable peach color called Bearded Dragon, that outer 2/3 kind of rusty red Wild, and now Oasis in the outer third. Who am I? Who am I that I can do makeup this cute? I'm sorry. But, you know, kind of practice. I'm not saying practice is making perfect, but this palette, to me, and I'm a lot gentler with myself and my skin than makeup artists on set, But it is amazing to see how long it takes makeup artists on set to blend even very simple monochromatic eye looks that are wine, purple, or blue in recent experience, right? Like you really are poking around on your eye for a good while, right? And somehow I've made this shape a little bit more slender and pointed than on this side, right? I have to try to remember not to use the sides of the pencil brush, but use the point. But all is not lost, right? It just gives more weight to the outside of your eye. And a lifted shape is a real thing. Like, I know it sounds like theory and it sounds so odd, but when you actually do it and you see it pay off in a way that, you know, if I was at work, if I was at dinner, if I was in court, like our friend Amber Heard, with eyeshadow like this might be too colorful, right, to look serious, but you know, it certainly is pretty. Okay, so using the other end of the brush that comes with the palette, again, I have thumbs up for W7 Dusk Till Dawn. Ultraviolet neutrals. Definitely violet tones. Definitely neutrals. Definitely half shimmer, half matte. No glitters. What is the other term? I forget. But glitter is chunkier. Shimmer, metallic. So I'm guessing that metallic is finer than glitter. Maybe these are metallics versus shimmer because they are very fine. Let me know what you think. Is it metallic, the finest kind of milled shiny bits, and then glitter is the biggest, and then shimmer is in the middle, right? Metallic, shimmer, glitter. And then above that, of course, we have the, you know, the drag style or euphoria style, actually using jewels and that sort of thing. But in any case, what color should we use for our inner corner, right? If this is the sophistication of terracotta and brown and peach and, you know, sort of a sandy, pale color, and then the inner corner shimmer, there's Mojave, which is purple. We have a rust, we have a wine color. Mirage is like a pale brown. Wilderness is pink. Gray Fox is, I guess, a redder version of Mirage. And then Golden Sands is this pale color. Let's rock with Golden Sands. You know I like to experiment with pale colors and go forth. But at this moment we have 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 3 and 4. It almost looks like I didn't touch Wild, but I know I did. Right? The little grid in the shadow is, it looks untouched. Gobi. Maybe I used Gobi instead. I can see where I dug into 1, 2, 3, but I can't see where I dug into, I believe it was Wild that we used, that kind of rust red, but Gobi also looks interesting. In any case, I guess I'll watch this back and see which color it is, but right now we're going for that inner corner shimmer. We're going to rock with Golden Sands, right? This is a palette I would travel with. That's how good this is, right? And you don't have to like worry about messing it up or breaking it or whatever because it didn't cost you 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks. This isn't Natasha Denona prices. This is W7 prices. And I really had no idea what W7 was. I definitely remember seeing their palettes and not really, just because of how garish the outside of the palette looked. I didn't think it was kitty makeup. Like, I have to confess, when I look at Cara Cosmetics and some of these cosmetics that are shaped like a chocolate bar or have cartoon faces on the cover, you know, names of like children or toys, I find myself, unless it's Hello Kitty, of course. You'll see back here I have some Hello Kitty sake. Not because I like sake, but I like Hello Kitty. You know, I just kind of gravitate more toward either brands I know, celebrities I know, like Doja Cat, or something that feels like it's for me. And I feel like the kitty palettes or drawings of cactuses and stuff like that, I feel like those aren't for me. So this is definitely giving us shimmer. I wonder if I should go in with my finger just to make it more color payoff. Or if we should just leave it like this so that it's more subtle. And then we'll go in with a blend. Right? Do we need it to be thicker? Do we want it to be shinier? This is why I suggest that this is a more finely milled metallic. It doesn't give you that crazy payoff of glitter. It definitely is a little bit lower watt than shimmer. Because shimmer seems chunkier and more obvious, right? When you lay down shimmer with a brush, it just looks like mirror ball shiny. But this is way more subtle. You could get away with, like, you know, meeting your investment banker husband for lunch at the steakhouse, right? And look pretty and ladylike, but not like you're a try-hard. Not like you should be, you know. What is that club called? Scores. Working at Scores by night, which is, you know, definitely a lucrative place to work, but, you know, maybe you want to keep Scores makeup from when you're at Scores. And maybe you're going there with your husband. Who knows? I don't know how you feel about OF. Certainly people have been criticizing Denise Richards for her daughter's, you know, choice to join OF. And OF is its own business model. Certainly people did during the Global Panini and beyond have been making a cute coin on there. Apparently they're paying signing bonuses. Apparently they've offered Jeffree Star a bonus. He's considering sharing his love education on there. Is that a subtle way to say it? You know, I feel like, you know, work is work. For a long time people maligned, in the acting community, people did malign or kind of criticize being on YouTube, being on all these apps, A, because they didn't understand it, and B, because they felt like it wasn't worthy of, you know, union actors. But I think the Global Panini taught people to have revenue streams that were varied. What is that word? Diverse. Taking a little bit of whatever's left on this pencil brush and running it into our lash line. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot under the lash line. I don't even know if this look requires a liner. I don't even know if I brought a liner from the other room. So maybe we have to do without it. Oh, there's a nice breeze coming through the window. These lights are pretty much LED, right? Fluorescence. I think LEDs and fluorescence are the same thing. Using one of our Jeffree Star. You know how troubled I feel about him. But again, I got them cheap during quarantine. Are they the same brush? Are they different? Did they dry differently or are they different? I'm not sure. But if we use, I guess, the smaller one of these two, and they're fabulous. Is this goat hair? What is this? Because it's so fuzzy and amazing to me. Checking our frame for blending out, right? Looking into our mirror, right? Looking down into our mirror, checking the symmetry of our inner corner, which is our palest shades, and just wanting to blend those edges, right? And holding this brush by its tip and spending some time in here because, again, I think that when people edit their makeup, sometimes it doesn't make it clear just how long the blending process took. And it's not going to be something that you can do in one sweep, right? I've had to learn this because If you go back and watch my videos, it's like, so we want to blend between the inner corner shimmer and whatever's in the middle of our eye, right? And spend some time there. Keep talking. Let that blending process blend, right? Relax the eye. Don't press too hard, but really just try to do your blending with love, right? And appreciate what a good palette. What a good palette for cheap. My lucky day, I happened to have been in Burbank at Ross Dress for Less, and I saw it and I debated with myself, just blending those outer edges, right? As we extended our initial colors out toward the temple, right? Buying more real estate for our hooded eyes. So maybe we don't have a lot of lid, but we can certainly use makeup to extend and enlarge our eye, right? I watch with interest all those, sort of Instagram and TikTok posts about what makes your eye look larger, right? It looks cool for people to put dark waterline colors in there. It looks cool, but it does close off and make the eye look smaller. By the same token, I think it looks crazy to have a big white line in your waterline. When I've seen it on people in real life, especially, in the cop headquarters, it looks absolutely bananas. It looks fake and distractingly phony, right? It just doesn't look human, right? So again, we're not trying to take the shadow off. We're just trying to make the edges more gradient. We're trying to do it with love. We're trying to create a shape that lifts and blends out toward the temple. A lot of people like that real sharp line. They really like to put that tape there. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't decided that that's necessary for me. All I'm doing these days is trying to think about a lifted shape that points right at the edge and the end of this brow, right? This undressed brow, right? And then being thoughtful about, okay, so after this, complexion products and contour, and then we will see where we are, get a brow going with our new brow products, right? But look at this blended eye versus the unblended eye, right? The unblended eye looks cool, but the blended eye looks subtle and amazing. That interplay of colors is there, and it just, I do think it enhances your makeup to have like a sophistication and a light hand. I was blown away when, I was on a project where, a gentleman was doing my makeup. It was that day where one of the hair people, the only man of color on the makeup hair trailer, tried to kick me out into the hot sun in a wool suit. And it's a project that stars one of the Marvel Universe stars, and I just rolled with it. I just pretended I didn't hear. And then the white women on the trailer let me stand in the corner because I was roasting hot. But I, to this day, couldn't tell you what Brother Man was trying to accomplish. As solicitous as he was of the blonde woman, bleached blonde, in his makeup chair. And I suppose bleached blonde was appropriate to the 1980s, but somehow over the course of the day, he had to do that same woman, her poor, damaged, bleached hair. He had to do her hair like 3 or 4 different times. Every time I saw her, she had a different hairdo. So I don't know what that means. Was he low on the totem pole and he needed approval from whoever was in charge of hair? Were they giving him a hard time? Is that why he was giving me a hard time? I couldn't tell you. But, as with most things, right? You have to kind of just be cool. If I can give you any advice, I can't even say it's for life, because sometimes a more confrontational reaction is appropriate. But, it kind of, I get, by just sort of being a little bit, flexible, right? Letting that request wash over me, and then seeing the reaction of the other people on that trailer, I kind of kept my way. I didn't get my way. I just kept doing what I was doing, because there were other people on the trailer who were not hair or makeup, who were not asked to leave, right? Did he ask me to leave because he felt like I could, because I'm a person of color? Like, what in the world? I'll never know. But, you know, it makes for juicy content. I'm just trying to tell you what you go through when you work on, you know, projects in Hollywood, right? You can't let people take you off your square. You can't go into the situation ready to argue or fight or think it's, you know, or treat it like it's World War III, right? If you can still get your way, your passive resistance might be better than freaking out. And, you know, you just have to laugh and wonder, like, what was he going through? Was he good at his job? The number of times he had to redo that woman's hair. And also, when I took my hair down for the woman who did my hair, she was astonished and he was astonished at the length of my hair and what good condition it's in. And she was telling me how another project that she works on doesn't like long hair. And, you know, again, I've been in the 1930s and 1940s and 1920s. Never anything before that era. But, you know, if I'm the one person with long hair and I can get away with it, just like when I'm a cop or an FBI person, it's fine. You know, let other people have shoulder length hair or whatever, you know. I've got wigs, and I always am able to kind of create a bun or a tuck or something that, you know, do you see the architecture of your eye? Right? This little fat pad underneath your brow, right? I feel like this shape that kind of starts at the corner of that brow, dips down, and then comes up, that's the architecture that you're enhancing ultimately with your shadow, right? The shadow that reaches out toward the temple, the shadow that hugs that outer third of the eye and then explodes into some sort of spectacular shimmer in the inner corner. And as you turn your head, looks so sophisticated, right? You know, quarantine, global panini taught me a lot. And I really, part of my idea is to go back and do makeup with the first makeup that I bought, because I thought, oh, I should have makeup. I had no idea what I was doing. I confess, I knew nothing. Certainly not as much as I know now. And, you know, just having had the time to kind of study with just the people on YouTube has put me in a much better position than I was in, right? Now, one of the questions I had when I first saw this palette, was that, is this too much? Is it too much color for me? Is it too bright, potentially, with this ayahuasca and purple shimmer? These seem like colors outside my comfort zone. But in practice, this looks amazing, right? So from here, we put aside our dirty brushes and we think about our burnt orange, royal blue, and deep purple liquid shadows from Doja Cat and BH Cosmetics. And we think about our white calligraphy eyeliners and black and green. I don't know if these would be the moment for what's going on here. We can take a moment and sniff our fragrance for the day. This Rollerball Good Chemistry. I recommend this. It's a fresh scent you could wear to play tennis with your actor friends. You could wear it for a bike ride in Griffith Park. You could wear it to the Santa Monica Pier and watch people filming their dance TikToks, right? This is a good fragrance to hang out with friends. It's not seductive, but it is pretty, and it does indicate, this person showered and they put on fragrance. So from here, right? This is our new lighting setup. Just trying to get into more, you can see more of me. There's not such a difference between the lighting on either side of my face. If we get into this Lumi Glotion in combination with this Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1, right? Get this Lumi Glotion on the high points of the face. First step, take a bit of it. It's in the color 903 Medium Glow. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. Is that the name of the product? Just a dot. Not going crazy. Listening to the good music that our neighbors are having outside because it's Father's Day and they're having a party, right? High points of the face. Underpainting, right? We have highlighter, concealer on, right? Brightening the bright parts of the face. Getting on this glow lotion, right? In all the places that we would highlight. Right above the arch of the brow, above the arch of the brow. It's subtle, right? Right? Tapping it into where we want it with our finger, maybe taking it off if it got too far in, right? Should we kiss what's left in the dish onto our brow bone? Right? Just a little shink-da-dink of something interesting, right? On the bridge of the nose, the tip of the nose. I love this. I gotta look for more of these. I just love how soft this is. Do we need it on the chin? No. Turning our head, seeing a little here, a little here, a little here. Lovely. Then, this Perfector 4-in-1, it doesn't have the wiggle to keep clean. Couple of clips. Color medium, because it seemed like the next shade down or the next shade lighter would be too light. We don't want to get too much, but we want to get enough. And it's supposed to do a bunch of things. It's supposed to prime, conceal, highlight, and BB cream. Highlight. Interesting, right? Get that closed up. Get our sponge in effect. Check our frame. Look, we're still live. Incredible. Right? Get that on the face. Warming up over any of that highlighting concealer. Restoring a more human skin tone as a thin layer, right? Think about your makeup. Think about your eyeshadow as thin layers, right? You want that luminosity to peep through, but you don't want it to look insane. Check your new ear cuffs to see if they're comfortable and if they're popping, so that, again, if you're playing I don't know, a radio DJ, a rave DJ, right? What's the right level of jewelry and makeup and just things, right? This isn't an edgy look. It's a pretty look. This is kind of, it feels romantic, right? Huda's vision for Desert Dusk feels like something that, you know, a married woman, even a woman who, you know, is covered because of religious beliefs, right? It has been a gift to the beauty world for creators like Huda to perhaps cater to women who are covered because their eyes are visible, right? I've seen women in Manhattan who were covered, and I was, you know, this is pre-global panini, I was jealous because they were covered. And if it's not hot, and if it wasn't like because, you know, you're, the problem is being covered is gendered. So for me, it's actually small and vulnerable. There is, especially, you know, if you know the divested community of Black women on YouTube and just hearing women talk on TikTok, you know, there is so much street level anger and violence directed toward women just randomly on the street, but also in their homes, also domestic violence, also the practice of sati in South Asia, in India. You know, we certainly learned about that in college and in the feminist movement and the womanist movement, right? Don't be a sucker. Don't just think, oh, I can just leave my house and look any way I want to look, because at the end of the day, you want to get home, right? It's uncomfortable. Sure, I'd love to run around in shorts and a tank top. And thankfully, there are a lot of men who aren't checking for women in a sexual or violence way. They're more interested in other genders, shall we say. And that's a plus, but you can't predict. You want to be careful. You want to be intentional. And if a safe place to explore your beauty and hair and makeup options is online, then God bless this option, right? That in certain communities you can be uncovered in front of your friends and family, not friends, in front of your family, brothers, cousins, husband. And, you know, that maybe, am I right? Or is it only your husband? I'm not sure, but feel free to educate me. You know, as much as I know is that you at least have to be careful who sees your hair, like the Orthodox community, who sees your, you know, entire face. You don't want to be provocative. You don't want your presence to provoke anyone, right? And it's unfortunate, but I think a lot of the culture of gender and violence and who has the power in society or resources is about controlling women, right? That even the poorest man, even the man with the least resources in society, can feel like at the very least he's in control of the women in his life, whether that's for good, providing, protecting, procreating, or for ill, abusing and taking advantage of and exploiting, and even worse, let's put it like that. In any case, this is a True Blend contour palette, and I maybe have tried to use this once before. Another thing I'm guilty of is not letting products dry down between application, and I dug out this little fan so that I could do this, turn it on, and then do that influencer. Ooh, I'm letting it dry down. Ooh, not too long, but it won't hurt you if it hits your finger like it just did, so that's cool. So if this is our moment and our face is unsculpted, right, that we can take a palette like this and then take a clever brush, a thin brush, right? You know, I've been trying to rock with this little tiny, I think it's a lip brush, and I'm looking into this mirror and I'm looking into this mirror. I'm wanting to respect, you know, the idea of you being able to see me and see my face. Is this zoomed in enough? I hope so. I hope that the weight of my phone isn't kind of bending the frame down too far. Let me see. Watch me knock everything over. How's that? I can't even imagine trying to shoot this kind of content with old time lights, right? The old lights in Hollywood used to not be LEDs. So hot. So this palette has a highlight, a contour, and a bronzer. It purports to be medium. Is this medium for me, or is this medium for paler people? Let's see. It's a grease paint, right? If we start on the cheekbone, right? Theory being that you sculpt a cheekbone, right? And the bone is up here, right? I always want to draw it down here, but let's try to do up here. Is this dark enough? I can't say. But aiming up toward the top of the ear. Is this too subtle? What's good about it is it's definitely cool for a change. Yesterday I did some makeup and it was so warm and so orange. There was actually also a BB cream I tried yesterday. So orange, right? It was a deep Maybelline BB cream and it just looked like I'd rubbed flaming hot Cheetos on my face, right? Some people are doing the double contour, right? Circling and lifting the cheek, circling and lifting the cheek, and then supplying a line that goes down. Supplying a line that goes down. And that this line that goes down will sculpt the face and snatch the face, right? So to unthumbify your face, adding some cool toned contour and then blending it up, and then a separate line that goes down, blending it up, a separate line that goes down. So lo and behold, our friends at CoverGirl have given us a, sorry, paranoid, a contour shade that isn't orange and that is supple enough. You like that word? Supple enough to actually go on without disrupting or disturbing or irritating your skin. Right? Wanting to leave a pale center line down the nose, and we're over painting our contour on top of a very thin coating of complexion products, right? That we're still getting the luminosity. We're going to powder the center of the face. We're going to have some sculpt and some lift, right? That hopefully enhances our face shape. And then getting this also onto the jaw using a tiny brush for a change. All right? Wanting enough product, wanting to sculpt out that pale chin, wanting brightness in the center of the face, right? People talk about a diamond, a brightness from here to here down to the chin, right? All of those, not exactly rules, but guides. Those guides are there to help us hopefully create a tiny feminized, if not feminine shape, right? It's not a requirement, but it's an aesthetic, right? And it's beauty is a dialogue, right? You watch beauty tutorials, you see people in film and in magazines, and you like the way it looks. You look at yourself before and after, right? And social media is an incredible tool for actually seeing what you look like and what you sound like, and, you know, kind of not only celebrating that, but also the sun is going down. I wonder if I need to turn on more light. I'm taking this under the double chin. We have ambition to get to the gym today. Do you think I'll make it? I do have a bunch of TikToks and reels to make. So if this is our tiny brush and we've laid on this contour product, right, taking it down the sides of the neck, then what is the proper tool to use to blend this? And should we get into this highlight color, which is quite shimmery, and it's almost like a pink metallic? We'll have to consider that. Should we use the same brush? All right. We make sure our brush has not a lot of product on it. Do we have another thin little brush? We have this brush. 5 can be temperamental, but we're trying to rock with it. We're trying to, you know, again, work through our stash, figure out, you know, what do we have in our hands? What do we have that we can use? What do we have that's going to look subtle enough but effective enough? Not make our face look dirty, but hopefully make our face look more sculpted and make our jaw look more sculpted, right? Have you been watching with interest our friend Michaela Noguera get, I wouldn't say attacked, criticized for, you know, using a lot of Photoshop and filters in a way that kind of altered her appearance to the point where she seemed unrecognizable. She seemed more like a Latin fished Jaclyn Hill. So brown, so thin, so not the very particular identifiable kind of contours of Michaela's face, but it was someone else's face. And I get that. That's what filters do, but it can go so far that you can be criticized for it. And a lot of people make fun of filters. You know, I think that if she had kind of titled the stylization, I'll call it that, of her appearance as an ode, you know, or as a joke, or, you know, the way that the Marilyn Monroe filter makes people look like. This was a very Jaclyn Hill look, a very Latin, right? But I know from Instagram that people do, yes, that level of alteration on themselves. They do. We see it all the time. So using this Vivace, very thin angled brush and stroking it in. This is even a bronze shade on the bottom. I think it is too pale for us, but, and there we are. Back again, just like Eminem. But, you know, sharpening up that cheekbone contour, sharpening up that jawbone contour, you know, wanting to set off that second line. You know, if we're double contouring, right, we're one bright and wide than we had. Check our, aha, we're gonna have to rush. The live gods are getting mad. But look at how this just sharpens up that nose contour, right? I'm paranoid now. Give it more of a center line, just so that I hope that